Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Heart Knows. My name Abi, episode 2. But in the previous episode, we stopped at a point where the character was describing al-wudu, that is ablution, saying these involved washing the hands, face, legs, and some other part of the body step by step. Lo and behold, the veil had to be lifted. This is where we stop at the last episode. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment if possible, just to encourage me. My Negobi episode 2. For the rest of the day, our class was filled with side talks about the look of our teacher. Majority of us were just getting the rare privilege of seeing her face for the first time. Today, as I reminisce, I can say it was as sleek as her heart, or even more. As a child, all I noticed was a scar on her face, which really looked nice on her. It took quite some time before the issue of Malama's face died down. I got close to her, and we would greet almost every day, even when we do not have her subject. One certain time, I was chatting with a friend who was my tribe. We were speaking Nupe language, and she interjected, amazing. Wow, how could this be? She understood what we were saying, though she was supposed to punish us. She only scolded and warned us to avoid unhealthy discussions. That was nice. From that day on, we did our greeting in Nupe language. She became our guardian in the school and stood for us whenever we got into trouble. She occasionally bought us food, gift items, and later asked if there were more of us, her kinsmen. We introduced all those whom we knew to her, and she saw to it that we improved academically and morally. If I was asked, I referred to her as my aunt. I got so fond of her that whenever she was absent from the school, I felt uneasy. The term went smooth and silky, all thanks to her backing. We studied to our full potentials and made a lot out of the time we could open at the Islamia. Our result kept getting better when suddenly the unexpected happened. Yes, Malama was frequently missing the school. I got so worried and wanted to know what exactly was happening. My curiosity and dilemma grew by the days, but I did not have the courage to ask her what was going on. It was not difficult walking up to her due to our familiarity, but I always became mute when I got in front of her. On a fateful Monday, we met, and she was quick to notice my worry. She asked if I had any problems. It was after school. I just told her there was no any problems and dashed home. Tuesday came and she did not show up. Same thing on Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays are weekend on Islamic calendar. So the next school day was Saturday. I wished I knew her house so I could just visit and make sure all was good. It was as though something strange was happening and I needed to act fast. My little conscience kept telling me she is like a mother. Saturday finally came. I was not going to Islamia. I told them at home that I was going to a classmate to join in doing our group assignment, which he knew better than me. I left home and headed for the Islamia, which was close to our house. I got there shortly and walked straight to her classroom. The other male teachers were just sitting at the passage, wondering what was happening to me as I was late, not in my uniform, looking healthy, no greetings, no excuses, no nothing. And I just walked and passed them. I found her reading a book, and immediately she noticed my presence. She stood up and reached for me, asking what the matter was. I simply replied her, saying, "It is you? Why are you always absent these days?" She said it was something at home, but she will inform us when things are set. I further asked her, "When things are set? How? At home again? What is it with home? What?" She cut in and said she was leaving the Islamia, and not just the Islamia, she may be leaving town. She may leave Kaduna, but she is not sure yet. What she said shocked me a lot. The last praise was not much of a relief. I left her place and headed home straight without saying a word to anyone at the school. At home, I told them I wanted to be transferred to another Islamia. I told them I kept getting into fight on my way to school because the streets leading to my Islamia were occupied by a different sect followers. Sect followers, we said in the previous episode, are the Sunni, the Tijaniya, and the Shiite. That is Shiite. And the kids will always wait ahead when they see me coming to pick a fight with me. My parents didn't think twice and faster than me thought. My parents didn't think twice and faster than I thought. I was already in another Islamia. I did not like the new school, but it gave me breathing space. I knew a colleague from the previous school who was a neighbor of Malama. I met him after a while, asked after her. If I had anticipated his response, I would not have even went to him. He told me that she is gone completely. She left town and he had no idea where she moved. He only heard that she was pregnant with complications. That was why she was frequently absent from the school those days and had to move to where her husband worked. An adult would refer to what I felt as heartbroken. But what did I know? I was just a kid. The bad feeling lingered for long, but I eventually moved on. I got admission for secondary education into a boys' only school at Zaria. It was a boarding school, and I was eager to start a new life away from Kaduna. I was there for only a year and transferred to a military school, which was also boarding but mixed. There were no niqabis and little religious activities except for Friday prayers and Sunday MSS, that is Muslim Student Society. At the end of my second year in the mixed school, I had finished my junior secondary school and was going to have a very long holiday before senior secondary started. I planned to use the time to catch up at Islamia and, if possible, graduate. It had been a long 3 years without learning anything new and little revision of what I already knew. I enrolled in my first Islamia. It was simply to facilitate my graduation, so the stay was going to be short. The number of Niqabi teachers and students had such they did not interest me, as they only reminded me of the first Niqabi I knew, Malama, Malama, Malama. The graduation day came, and just like all life event, it passed. Somewhere along the line, my admission letter came. I was to resume senior secondary school at a unity school in Sokoto State called Federal Science College. Keeping us within the school premises was a serious challenge, so we had the opportunity of sneaking out to town. Sokoto State is a seat of caliphate, the headquarters of Islam in Nigeria, and a dean of Niqabis. Since the primary essence is to cover the face, there was not really any chance of seeing the faces as it was in the case of Malama. A certain guy joined us in the school late in 2007. I was in final year and he was a year behind. News got to me that he was from the boys' only school which I attended at Zaria, and we became friends. Little did I know that he was part of a puzzle. He was from a well to do family and a hothead. We started going to their house, sometimes returned to school in his car if we still had plan of going back to their house, or we just came to do something transient at school. His elder brother was schooling at a military school in Jos and had run back to Sokoto. He was hiding with their friends. Their parents did not know, but since they had the same friends, he could not hide from his brother, my friend. The parent later found out from the school at Jos that their son was not in school. They pressured my friend and he revealed where his brother was hiding. When they got to him, he told them he was not going back, and if they forced him, he will definitely go away to where they cannot find him anymore. They told him to stay home and get another school. Since he was now at home, it was more easier for us to stay in town. We became even closer with him than with my friend, since we were ex-commandos, as we called ex-students of our military schools. We sometimes use languages only the two of us understand. One fateful day, it was all school-age kids in a car with loud music in their neighborhood, which was the government reserved area in Sokoto around the government house. And there was a Nigobi girl whom we saw dropped from a car that had some other school kids on board. From all indications, they gave her a lift. She was standing beside the road all by herself. There was a quiet silence as we drove past her. Welcome. This is the end of this very episode 2. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and encourage me by commenting if possible at Heartnos.